Hey, my name is Megan and welcome back to another video. Today I want to share some of the things that I've done over the years to let go and let it flow, meaning how I've detached myself from both my biggest goals and desires as well as things that I know deep down don't serve me to significantly improve my life. I do not pretend to be an expert. I'm not a coach. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to share my experiences and thoughts and hopefully meet like-minded people like you. I want to very quickly try to share a little bit about my personality, I guess, so I can better highlight the changes that I've made. I am very extremely goal-oriented to the point where in the past, if I didn't get the desired outcome, even if I enjoyed the process, the journey, I'd say, well, now the whole thing was a waste. It's also in my nature to be very structured in how I achieve my goals, to the point where I would outline in painstaking detail what I wanted to achieve and how exactly I was going to get there and exactly when I was going to get there, every detail. Again, a lot of this is in my nature, and on top of that, I feel like many things I learned about manifestation and the law of attraction encourage that. They would say to get super specific about what you want. Otherwise, how can the universe know what to give you? I took it to an extreme for sure. What makes some of this confusing, and I don't think I'm alone in this, is that in life, there are some things that you can make happen almost by, I want to say brute force. Not literal force, but hopefully you get the idea. For instance, when I was younger and I was in school, like high school, I wanted the highest grades, the best test scores. As an adult, I started a content agency and I wanted to make $10,000 a month. I was able to force those things to happen by studying harder and harder and working more hours and closing more clients. It was exhausting, and a lot of things in life don't work like that, where you can just try harder indefinitely. You're going to hit a wall. I'm not saying hard work doesn't matter. I pride myself on my work ethic. But my point is, if you're not getting it right up here, it won't matter how hard you're working. Furthermore, one thing I happily accept and embrace today, and we're going to come back to this later, is that things aren't inherently hard. We don't by default have to work our butts off for everything in life. I'm going to save this for later though. So here are some things I did to change my approach to getting the things I want in life by almost completely detaching from any expected outcomes, and I will share the results as well. First, let's talk about romantic relationships. Like a lot of people, I wanted to meet the man that I would spend my life with, get married, all that jazz. I grew up hearing from everyone, friends, family, movies and TV shows, relationships are hard, they're painful, you have to sacrifice. All of these things making it sound like there is so much you have to put up with if you want to enjoy the positive parts of being in a relationship. So I took that into all of my relationships and believed that if it was difficult and painful, and if I could survive that, I was strong and tough and I was a good girlfriend. And if it seems too good to be true, it is, because relationships are hard. Now I want to be very clear so people don't come for me. I'm married now. We've been together for a little over 5 years. Sure, 5 years might not be that long in the grand scheme of things. I want to acknowledge that. Maybe the challenging stuff is coming 10 years down the line. I don't know. But I no longer believe what I used to about how relationships are just like the hardest thing in the world. I've learned that with the right partner, the right person for you, I am not struggling or suffering in any way. My marriage is incredibly fulfilling and calm and overall easy. It just flows. If after starting to date my now husband, if I had approached him with the same mindset that I approached previous men, I would have dismissed him because of all these misconceptions that I had. None of this is to say that if you're in a relationship and there are big challenges, it's the wrong relationship for you. I'm talking about the mindset, the beliefs surrounding what it takes to be in a wonderful romantic relationship. Another big change I made was I stopped trying so hard. In true law of attraction form, in the past, I had written a list of all of the attributes I expected my dream guy to have. I was so attached to this specific set of requirements. When I found myself single, again, I was right back on Tinder and Bumble, swiping, looking for a guy who checked all the boxes. I ended up meeting and very briefly dating one guy. Yikes, that's another story. And anyhow, I very quickly realized I am trying too hard. I'm trying to force it. I'm too attached to what I think is best. How arrogant of me. Detach yourself, let go, and let it flow. I also realized I was doing a lot of this from a place of fear. What if I never meet someone again? What if I end up alone? You can't do things out of fear or desperation. So I got off the dating apps, I threw away the list of demands I had, and I focused on this. There is endless love available to me in the universe. And that was it. And I decided that I would not consider dating until I met someone who I enjoyed being with better than I enjoyed being alone, because I actually really enjoy being alone. I had to detach myself from what I believed was the best outcome for me. If all of this meant that I would be single for the next several years, I said, okay, that's fine. If that's what I need for now, that's fine. I'm going to trust it. And I let it go. Weeks later, of course, I reconnected with my husband. I say reconnected because we had actually worked together several years prior. But at that time, we were just coworkers and we were both in relationships, so nothing happened. It was effortless, and it still mostly feels that way. Not always, but usually. What this taught me is that when you are trying to force things to happen, you're not allowing the universe to give you everything it wants to, which could be far greater than what you're hoping for. Instead, you end up, for example, trying to force a relationship with the wrong person or talking to icky people on Tinder or whatever. Detach and let the universe do its thing. It's got you. It is always unconditionally loving and supporting you. Money, let's talk about that next. As an adult, I spent many years with very little money. I've always worked. In fact, there was a point where I had 2 full-time jobs, and I've always been incredibly frugal. Part of that's my personality, and part of it was out of necessity because I had so little money. I've been a freelance writer for over a decade, and maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I decided to transition from freelancing to running an agency. I wanted to scale and make more money. The important part here is that at the time, the only way I knew how to make more money was to work more. But eventually, you run out of time. So I transitioned to an agency business model. I hired a small team, and my best year was 2022, I believe, and I made well into 6 figures. Not bad considering I'd always heard that writing is just a hobby. It was great. I learned a lot, and for the first time I was really financially stable and also completely burned out. 100%. My energy was gone and my interest had depleted. So what did I do? I kept forcing it, obviously. More work, more clients, more money, let's go. That wasn't the answer, and guess what? Everything I had been doing to get to that point stopped working. But all this money I'm making. I was terrified to let go of the money because what if? What if it never comes back? I was attached to the money by any means necessary. Well, I don't care how miserable I am as long as I'm making money. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I was attached not only to the money, but also how I got that money. It had to be as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. I would never go back to a 9-to-5, never. I was very bitter about corporate America because I had been laid off several times, and I said that I would never, ever, ever, ever go back. But also, what I was doing wasn't working. I had to significantly reconsider my approach. I wanted to maintain that financial stability, but I needed a break. Instead of being obsessed with making $10K a month as an agency owner, I started focusing on maintaining financial stability, ideally 6 figures a year, while working significantly less. But I detached myself from all the other details and left it up to the universe. I had a client at the time. I had signed a year-long contract with them, biggest client I ever had. And as that contract was coming to an end, they didn't want to renew. And I was like, oh, ugh. But instead they told me, hey, we want to bring this in-house, do you want the job? Now remember, at the time, I was totally against going back to a 9-to-5, but I was also trying to detach myself from how this played out and instead focused on how I wanted to feel. So I accepted the offer and I said, this is going to be great. I now make a really good living, unlimited PTO, benefits, great health insurance, I work with nice people, I enjoy most of what I do, and I work significantly less than when I ran my own business. This 9 to 5, I've been doing this for over 2 years now, and it still feels like a vacation compared to what I was doing before. If I hadn't detached, if I had continued to be really stubborn, trying to call all the shots, I would have turned down this opportunity and really missed out. I made room for not only possibilities that I had never considered before, but also possibilities that I said I would never accept. I made room for those things and my life got better. I want to pause on personal stories and recap the main lessons I've learned just to sum it all up. Again, as I said, these are just my personal experiences, my own opinions. Do with this what you will. Number 1, focus on the feeling. Leave the rest up to the universe. I kept saying, I want to make this much money, and here's how I want to make it. And nothing else was acceptable. I detached and shifted to, I want to feel financially secure and work less. I worried less about how that happened and focused on how I wanted to feel. Number 2, approach life from love and abundance, not fear and lack. I was so scared of losing money and not finding a new man that I was willing to force it. I was willing to make decisions that weren't ultimately in my best interest. I detached and I said, for example, there's plenty of love. There's plenty of love for me. And there's always money to be made. Making money is easy. Love and abundance, not fear and lack. What you project, you get more of. Number 3, stop attracting and start acknowledging. I shared in this video, which I'll link to below, that I think, just my opinion, the way that we've been taught how to manifest is a bit wrong in that we don't really need to attract the things we want. They're already here. They're already here. They're available to you right now. In fact, the idea alone of attracting things is counterproductive because if we look at it as attracting what we want, the message we're giving off, the frequency we're operating at is, I don't have this thing yet, so I'm going to try to attract it to me. Remember what we just said though, what we project, we attract. So if you're saying that you don't have something and thus you will try to attract it, you are projecting lack. What I do now instead is I acknowledge and I appreciate that all of the things I want are already here. Thank you, I already have them. I already am that person. No need to attract. It's already done. It's already been taken care of. We're good. I'm good. If you can get into that mindset, it's very empowering and also freeing. Number 4, this one is very broad, I know. Relax. Relax. I'm not talking at you when I say this because I'm reminding myself as well. I need this reminder daily. Seriously, calm the hell down. Everything is okay. Everything is great. You are always being unconditionally loved and supported. Even if you don't believe in the law of attraction or manifestation or anything like that, I feel like you can still take a lot of this at face value and apply it to your life, and you will see things change for the better. I feel so much calmer these days because I've detached myself. Old me would think that this version of me is lazy and doesn't care, but really, I feel like I've evolved in so many positive ways. That required me to change. That is change by definition. I'd love to know your thoughts and anything you're willing to share about your own experiences, so drop me a comment and give me a shout. If you have requests for future videos, I would love to hear them, so just let me know in the comments. I always love your feedback. All right, see ya.